Welcome to Office Hours. I'm Steve Drost. With me, as always, Will Kaplan. Of course, me and Will, both from the Quivr team. What is Quivr? Quivr is the CRM built by financial advisors for financial advisors. And our objective is very simple. How can we help you run your business at peak efficiency? Now, each episode of Office Hours, we tackle a couple of cool items that came directly from our users who are trying to do just that, make their lives a little bit easier. Will, I want you to start this one off today.
Yeah, Steve, I got an email recently from a user that I like. They're pretty advanced. I mean, they do, I think they have a good understanding of Salesforce. They have a good understanding of Quivr. And what I find interesting about this is sometimes you just don't see the thing, like the way to connect it all together and the way to put it, like, how do I make this easier? I've got these tools, but I can't figure out how to use them. I don't know how to use a hammer. I don't know how to use a screwdriver. I can't figure it out. What do I do? And in this particular case, the user knew they've got a particular topic coming up inside of the practice where they're going to have meetings with a subset of their clients, like let's say 80% of their clients, and they want a task to sort of kick that off and for them to track it. And they've done a great job. They identified a task template, which is an option inside of Archr. And what that allows you to do is you have sort of a templated, formatted task. Great. And what they were doing was then going to each one of these households and clicking, fire off this task, fire off this task, fire off this task. And I said, okay, how do you feel about that? Do you like that? Is that the way you want to do it? Because there's other options, right? I mean, this is Salesforce. You can do whatever you want to do. And the response is like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't know how else we could do this. And I'm sure, as someone who uses this frequently, the wheels are probably already turning. Like, I can see it in your eyes. You know where this is going. And so, take a stab at it. What do you think the answer is?
He was not utilizing processes, which are automations. So what he could have done, and what I'm sure you told him, is you could just have a thing in the system that runs, and if a specific set of criteria is there, it'll just kick off all of those tasks in bulk. Yeah, and it's important to remember, right, how we build operations, how inside of Archr, right? Archr is our operational hub. It's a two-step approach. The first step is that building block. The building blocks are your workflows. I like to say the building blocks are the how. It's how you're going to get stuff done. It's the learning management system, standard operating procedure, standard operating guidelines. Do 1, do 2, do 3, right? That's the order that it gets done with. But processes, though, those are the automations component. The processes is where you get to tell Quivr the who and the when. So not just the how, we now have the who, the when, and the how, right? We have all of those brought together. So what this user, I'm assuming he set up and will now continue to do going forward, is he can just say, well, how about if because I believe you said this was for surge, right? His busy season or meeting season, tax something. What was this for?
Yeah, it was for, they're sort of starting to think about their tax prep for the coming year. And so they wanted, we need to identify who our tax prep clients are, right?
Yeah. So this
Fantastic.
this is simply a recurring automation, a recurring process. And what he'll be able to do is say, well, on September 1st, because that's when I want to kick off my tax prep start process. I want to kick off this workflow for any client household who has the tag of tax planning. And then what'll happen is on September 1st, that's automatically going to get kicked off. And once he builds that one, he's going to get addicted to it because he's going to be able to have his monthly gifting report workflow automatically get kicked off on the 1st of the month. I mean, I have my system up here over here right now, and I've got 65, 70. I got so many of these. I mean, I have June 15th, my CFP CE, my Minnesota CE, and my Wisconsin CE. I'm just going to get those workflows get kicked off. So I'm just going to tell Quivr, just do that for me. So this man's now going to be able to apply that to not only this one thing where he had to click something 50 times, but he's going to be able to use it to transform how he manages a lot of things in his business.
And this is one of those situations where it's just kind of like, oh, I forgot I could do that, right? Because they're using these automations in other places. It's just not, it's like turning it slightly, using it in just a very slightly different way where it maybe, it's like to your point about like the gifting report. Well, that happens every month. Right. But you could run it just once a year to have it kick something off that, to your point, like early June, September, year end, January, like just have it run once a year and kick this thing off for you. So even if you're doing like a surge style meeting where you're like, I've got a spring surge and a fall surge and they're slightly different. So I use a slightly different workflow. Great. Run 2 processes, run a spring process and a fall process. It's funny you bring that up
because that's exactly how my firm does it. I don't know the exact day surge is going to start. My surge this year my fall surge of 25 starts on September 8th, 2025. I don't know if next year it's probably not going to be on the 8th. I always do the Monday after Labor Day. It just works well with my clientele. I don't Labor Day might be the 8th next year. Maybe my search starts September 15th. So what I do is I have my search process kick off on July 1st. Now it seems weird, but the first step is my mom moves that to 4 weeks or whatever before a search starts. So the workflow is being kicked off automatically. The first one is just a timing issue. I would rather have her have to move a task rather or versus forgetting to kick it off and now it's 2 weeks before surge and we're not there yet. So the first type of process that we just want to remind people of are these, we call it the recurring, but it's the calendar. It's get your big, 36 by 24 calendar that you have on your wall that you have to get things done at a certain time all year and build that into Quivr and let Quivr tell you how to do or when to do stuff. And then we can't forget the other type of automation as well. That's what we call the date driven one. And those are the win isn't every Monday. The win might be, for example, 4 months before somebody turns 65 because their Medicare window has opened. Well, we want to be reminded when that person's Medicare enrollment opens. So therefore, we can have our workflow automatically get kicked off for Medicare review according to somebody's actual birth date. And I think I shared that example. That did happen to me again this week. I've got a lot of clients getting close to 65, I guess, because that happened last week and I had to send an email. And I wouldn't remember to do that, but I'm going to because now I remember that their Medicare window is open. I sent that email and then I also added it to their next meeting agenda in the meeting module because, of course, I want to make sure it gets taken care of. But yeah, really, really, I think a good timely question from this gentleman because he was user maybe 15 on Quivr. Very early user, very advanced, very sophisticated. But sometimes we just get so deep into the weeds that we forget what resources and tools and functionality are right at our fingertips. And we might be wasting time that we really shouldn't be wasting.
Well, and I think part of it is understanding like how to put a couple of these different things together to get the outcome that you want. So like in this case, it was like, well, I know I can kick a process off, but I need to be able to kick it off on a specific date. Okay, great, we can do that. But I don't want it to go for everybody. Okay, that's fine. Put a tag in or put a service offering in or put something in there that you can use to filter your list. And so I think you just have to kind of understand some of how the things work together in order to get the outcome that you ultimately want from the tool. And that's definitely kind of where he is now, where it was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I could use like my client agreement, or I could use one of my, value adds, could filter on all these different options and then get that list of people that I want to have this show up for. And then just say, great, kick it off on this date. So yeah, I mean, to me, it was an interesting example of where like we just sometimes forget about how to put this stuff together, or we've never been exposed to it. And you just need that little tip.
And again, we know our users they got a lot going on. So sometimes they just need somebody to connect the dots. And if that's you, that's perfect. Remember, if you're a Quivr user, come to office hours every Wednesday, join us. We can help you with things like this. I mean, you were the one that helped him, but you probably saved 2 hours of his paraplanner's time. Come to office hours. We can help you. If you're not a Quivr user, that's okay. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But remember, it's not too late. Schedule a demo. Come hang out with me. Come hang out with Will and see what Quivr can do for yourself.